Car dealers are in trouble. No, not just the new car dealers, used car dealers as well, and it is going to affect you as a consumer in a positive way. For dealers, not so much. What is going on in today's market? I like to give you market updates and honestly, the truth behind the scenes that not a lot of people will say, whether you're a realtor or a car dealer, whatever, you kind of have an insight into how the market is going, how the economy is going based on how people are spending, and if you're stuck with old inventory that is not moving and no one's calling on. My name is Craig from Flying Wheels. In today's video, I'm going to explain to you what the heck is going on in the automotive industry, in the used car and new car market, and how it is going to affect you as a consumer or you as a car dealer. My name is Craig from Flying Wheels. Let's get going. If you're looking for a new vehicle right now, it is the absolute best time to be buying one. Interest rates are at 0% again. There are tons of manufacturer incentives for them to sell their new vehicles, and that's gonna flow into used cars in just a minute. Now, I own a used car dealership in New Hampshire. I also wholesale cars, buy cars, and sell them at auction in Florida. So I have an idea of how the market's going on both sides of the country and how it affects my business personally. My business is based off how people spend their money, and I get to see how they're spending before really anybody else does. Now, I have a friend looking for new vehicles. He wants to buy a new truck, and he called me the other day and said, Craig, should I buy, should I not buy? And I said, absolutely, you should buy. The new car stores are hungry. They need to make those sales because they're not. So the manufacturers are offering gigantic incentives on leftover. They still have vehicles from 2023 left over at some dealerships, which is not a good sign. So these dealers have to liquidate. They have to get rid of the old inventory so they can sell new inventory. Now, he's looking at 2024 pickups, and he's going back and forth between Ram, Ford, Chevy, and the dealers are offering not just incentives, buy money, cash back to buy the vehicle, they're offering insane interest rates in order to get his sale. So he called me asking what he should do, and I said, yeah, just have them work off each other. They want to sell. It does not look good for Ford to have their Ford dealers have leftover vehicles. It shows that nobody bought their vehicles a year ago. To have a car from 2023 that's still brand new, ridiculous. That is not a good sign, and that is not a good look for any new car store. It means they haven't been able to sell that car in 2 years. So the ball is in your court. Like, you have the power as the consumer now to get some great deals, both with price and with interest rates and with just money back. Now, I've made videos on the new car stores already. I want to talk about used car dealerships. He asked me, Craig, why is anybody buying a 100,000-mile pickup for 40,000 when I can go buy a brand new one for 55,000? And I said, exactly. That is the problem. Everything that we own for too much. Now, there are entirely way too many car dealers in the United States, and honestly, we're all overpaying. We're fighting each other for inventory to stay alive, to keep our businesses afloat. We need inventory. So when we go to the auctions like this right here, there are way too many dealers battling each other in order to get a great deal. We're not really getting great deals. The auction, if you've been watching my videos, we pay all the money, and then we have to try to sell it for a profit on the back end. So yes, the new car dealers are struggling to make their sales, but they'll always be in business. Ford, Ram, GM, they'll always be backed. What about those independent dealers? Well, this segment, the dealers, the used car dealers are going to hate that I'm telling you this, but as a consumer, it's going to be very helpful. Why are things so expensive still for used cars? It's because we own them for too much money. I'm gonna give you this as the example, which is actually a terrible example, but I purchased this 2004 Humvee a year ago for $30,000. The market was good. Things were good. People had money. I had actually sold one a year before for $50,000, so I bought it right at the time. However, times change. People change. Their finances change. So here I am a year later, still stuck with this Humvee. Now, I own it for over $30,000. I can hang on to it forever and try to get my $30,000 back, or I can cut my losses and sell it for 15 or 16 or 17 or 18 or 19, or hopefully get 20,000, and I'll take a $10,000 plus loss on this Humvee. Now, granted, this is a Humvee. This is unconventional to what most dealers have, but the idea is the same. If I purchased this Mercedes 6 months ago for 25 and now I can buy it for 20, it means I own this one for $5,000 too much. So I can either continue to tie up my $25,000 and never sell it while it's constantly depreciating, or I can take my losses, cash out, and move on and go buy other things at today's market prices. Now, not a lot of people, not a lot of dealers are willing to take that loss yet. They're not mentally there. It took me over a year to realize, hey, this thing's worth $10,000 less than I paid. Hey, my Nissan Skyline is worth $12,000 less than what I paid for it during COVID. So if you watch my channel, you might be seeing me take loss after loss after loss, and you can say, oh, Craig is terrible at his business. I had a 15-year run where we did really, really well, and our dealership is still functioning with a profit in New Hampshire. And we're still wholesaling cars here for profit. The problem is the stuff I'm showing you on YouTube, the Humvee, the Skyline, the 2 Mercedes that I just took a loss on both. The problem is prices have changed from a year ago or even 6 months ago. So what I paid for cars not that long ago, prices have changed. So I have mentally got to the point where I need to liquidate things. I need to adjust and get to today's prices so I can sit on all of my inventory and never sell them, never make a profit, never be able to pay my bills, and eventually go out of business. Or I can take the best offer and come to reality, come to terms with reality, and realize, hey, this thing might only be worth 18 grand now. Take the $12,000 loss, cash out, take your $18,000 and go buy 2 more cars that can make you a profit. Start getting your money back. Start profiting off your cash instead of having it tie up $30,000 or $18,000 for another year until I finally come to terms with it and need to sell things. Now I'm telling you right now, used car dealers, we are selling things. We have money to purchase cars at today's prices. But like I said, we're competing against each other. Lots and lots of dealers at the auction to try and find deals. Now add in auction fees, add in the cost of doing business in general. It is really, really expensive to run a business, and every single one of my vendors, including especially my insurance companies, have all increased premiums and rates. So everything is more expensive to run a business today, and all the cars that I own aren't worth what they were worth 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. So you need to reevaluate and try to compete with other dealers while also buying low, so we can't sell high because there's nothing high anymore. So we can buy low and sell medium, fair, at a fair price to you. Meanwhile, there are 1,000 other dealers with cars out there also trying to sell to you. So we're competing with the dealers at the auction, and then we're competing with the dealers when we try to sell our cars, because there's so much inventory out there for you as the consumer to look at and shop and price shop and then compare and negotiate. So we have to be hungry when we're selling, sell low, lower than our neighbor, but we have to be hungry at the auction and pay more than our neighbor because we need that car, we need that sale. So the margins are much, much thinner now. Now, I talked about new car stores earlier and how they have incentives. Well, the manufacturer actually pays them to take losses. Get rid of this inventory, we'll reimburse you for it, take on new inventory, sell new inventory. So they can sustain their losses because they're backed by the manufacturer. Ford needs to keep producing. Ford needs to keep employees employed at their plants and their transportation companies and their parts companies, and everyone is reliant on the manufacturer. Me as an independent used car dealer, there's no one backing me. So it's just a battle of buy low, sell at a fair price, be higher than the other car dealer when I purchase, but be lower than the other car dealer when I sell it. Also try to afford every single one of my vendors that have increased their rates. So if you've been watching my videos, which I've kind of tackled already, you've seen all my thumbnails about I'm losing money, I'm losing money, I'm losing money. Those are on the old inventory. We have new inventory, we sell cars regularly, and we make a profit regularly, and we're sustaining the business. But until dealers can come to terms with the losses they're going to take on their overpriced inventory, those cars are just going to sit and sit and sit. And they may not mentally be ready to take those losses like you've seen me take. And until they are, their inventory is going to sit on their lot and be overpriced. Now back to my friend who's looking at buying trucks and asked me, why would I buy a used truck for 40 when I can go buy a new one for 55? He's absolutely right. Why would you buy a 100,000 mile truck and you can buy a new one for $15,000 more? It's a no-brainer. So everyone's going to go to the new car stores right now, which is going to take away from our business, and it is taking away from our business. When the new car stores didn't have inventory, everybody went to used car dealers. Everybody went to the independent lots, and we all fought to get our cars out there, and people had money and people were spending, and all was good. And when things are good, everyone's good. But when things are bad, not everybody's going to tell you. And it is bad, and dealers are struggling, myself included. It is not the same time it was 2, 3, 4 years ago. Now, the people that have been doing it a long time, the people that are willing to adjust and correct and make changes, they'll they'll survive. The people that aren't won't survive, and you're gonna start to see a lot of empty car lots soon because we're overpaying for vehicles and we're underselling vehicles, and our overhead is more expensive than it has ever been. How does this reflect you? Well, you as a consumer now know that the power is in your hands. I shouldn't have told you that, but it is. If you want to buy a brand new car, you'll get 0% incentives. You'll get manufacturer incentives for like cash in advance. You'll get great lease terms, but not everybody wants a brand new car. It's expensive to register, it's expensive in sales tax, and it's just a higher payment. If you want a pre-owned car, you can pay less, get a better, lower payment, and it is still an option for people, and a lot of people just want to pay cash. My dealership in New Hampshire is strictly like cash based. We do offer financing, but we're like $15,000 and under now. We reevaluated what was working, we adjusted, we changed, and now we sell to a completely different dynamic, and now we sell to a completely different demographic, and the type of inventory we have has evolved into what people are purchasing. Why would I be buying 2021 pickup trucks for too much money when people can go buy 2025 pickup trucks for not much more? That's my wisdom of the day. I try to give you all the insight of what's happening on the back end. I'm not alone here, even though not a lot of people would like to admit it. Things are hard. Things are not great. You just keep pushing through. Times will get better. If you want to sustain the business, you have to evolve. You have to make changes. You have to see what's working, and you also have to liquidate on that overpriced inventory. So you as a consumer, knowing if a dealer has had a vehicle on their lot for way too long, the power is in your hands. Just as far as negotiating, mention it that way. Hey, I noticed this car's been on your lot for 180 days. Your competitor has one for $3,000 less, but I like this one. Would you consider selling it for this price? They say no, that's the dealer that isn't ready to take that hit. They say yes, that's the dealer that's come to terms with today's market, and you can get some great deals on used cars that's been sitting on lots for way too long. Somebody that wanted that Humvee right there may have paid $25 a year ago, but they may only be willing to pay $18 to $20 now. I have to come to terms with